So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this webinar organized by Twinning Europe. My name is Marta, and I'm very happy to be your host for today. Before we start, just a practical information for the audience. The webinar is recorded, and the recording might be used for dissemination purposes. And if you have comments, questions, please post them in the chat, and we will address all of them at the end. But without further delay, let's go to the heart of today's event. The webinar you are attending is part of the Twinning Spring campaign that aims at raising awareness on the twinning theme of the year 2022, Our Future, Beautiful, Sustainable Together, Schools and the New European Bauhaus. If you have not yet taken part in the activities, we invite you to visit our campaign page. Roberta will post the link in the chat and explore all the activities we have prepared for you. But without further delay, the webinar of today will focus on the role of teacher in blended learning context with reference to the opportunities offered by the new European Bauhaus. The main question that will be addressed is how can blended learning, both as a methodology and as a learning setting, open new perspectives to approach inclusion, creativity, and togetherness? The workshop aims at inspiring teachers to dream about their school of the future and to design and implement innovative learning experiences. But before giving the floor to our guest speaker today, Ariana Blazig, we are honored to have with us Cécile Leclerc, senior expert for e-twinning in the new European Commission. Cécile is with us today, and I'm very happy to give you the floor. I know that you have something to say to our community.
Yes, thank you, Marta. Thank you also. Of course, I welcome you to this webinar. It is impossible to talk about our future together without mentioning the situation in Ukraine. So I have a bit disregarded what I was planned to say in the beginning, to say that first we need to express our solidarity with our Ukrainian colleagues, and e-twinning can certainly support that, and there will be a link certainly with the inclusiveness of this campaign that we are running under the theme of this year, the new European Bauhaus. So I wanted already to flag you breaking news. It's not public yet. It will be published today or tomorrow that we will have two special groups in e-twinning to help the situation. There will be a moderated group, a featured group, to deal with refugees and migrants. So the current migrant group will be renamed to also address refugee situation, and we will also create a grassroots normal group that will be that will enable you to have peer-to-peer support ideas. I wanted to mention this because, of course, the arrival of refugees will be a challenge to our school systems, and it is impossible to ignore it. So already with blended learning, we have already a possibility to maybe be very creative on the challenges that some will face, not all, but there will be, of course, in some places, a mass of refugee children who will need to integrate the normal schools, the national school system. So we will need to be creative, and the blended approach can certainly offer tracks for that. So I think the webinar also in that respect is very topical. Maybe we will need to be creative in combining different on-site solutions, different digital learning strategies. So I think it's very topical also in light of the solidarity we want to show with our Ukrainian friends. And also one thing I wanted to say about this new European Bauhaus, which is the theme for this year, which may sound like a bit of a strange theme, and we want to demystify it. And if I have one comment, one comment is that what is important is the content of this new European Bauhaus concept, which is a triangle we want to integrate. I insisted on the inclusive part. There is also the so-called beautiful, but by beautiful, we mean also the quality of the experience for the teachers, the learners, and people in the school. So maybe more quality of experience than beauty, and sustainability is, of course, a priority anyway. So how can we, in our projects, contribute to these three pillars of the triangle. And maybe a last quick remark, because I don't want to take too much of Ariana's time, is that we may see the new European Bauhaus as a metaphor. The Bauhaus was a school of design created in Germany in 1919 and operating until 33. But it was the first time that two different schools were integrated, namely architecture and then fine arts. So I think if we take that as a metaphor, the integration of these two schools produced really very specific and creative projects. And I think this is a very good metaphor for what we are doing in Erasmus and eTwinning. We try to enrich the possibilities of cooperation by opening possibilities to cooperate with each other. And this is really, again, a metaphor for mutual learning, and especially intercultural mutual learning that is enabled via eTwinning. So I think this is a bit what we see, this mutuality, this cross-fertilization between different approaches that we see in blended learning, different countries, different classes that we see in eTwinning and in Erasmus+. So in a nutshell, this was the key message I wanted to convey. So I'm sorry that I cannot stay with you. And I give the floor now to Ariana. And I wish you a very good webinar. And we'll be back together, I'm sure, at other time in the campaign. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cecile. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cecile, indeed, for staying with us for the opening. I think what you just said, it's really, really important. So thank you very much. And also for announcing what we are doing, what we are gonna doing in eTwinning to support the situation in Ukraine. So thank you very much. And now without further ado, yes, exactly, I would like to pass the floor to Ariana for the presentation.
Thank you, Marta. I'm going to share my screen just a moment. Can you see it?
It's loading.
Yes. Yes.
The wheel is spinning. So yeah, in a while. Okay, perfect. We can see.
Okay. Okay. Yes. So thank you once again for the invitation, and a warm welcome to all the participants of this webinar. As you said, I'm going to talk a bit about designing, creating, and sharing in the context of this new theme, the new European Bauhaus. First, let me start with just a brief introduction of the historical Bauhaus, what Cecile just mentioned. I think it is very important to know at least something about the historical Bauhaus before we try to understand the new European Bauhaus. So it was created in 1919, and it soon in Germany, but it soon became a global cultural movement. And it started at a moment of deep transformation towards the modern societal and industrial era. This movement brought together people from different disciplines, so to say, artists, designers, craftspeople. So it embraced the so-called transdisciplinary approach. What they wanted to do is to reimagine the world by uniting all the arts, or in fact, they wanted to search for solutions for the challenges of the time. At that time, of course, there were also a lot of different challenges that needed solutions. And what they wanted was to combine the beauty, the aesthetics with everyday functions, with everyday functionalities. And by doing so, the end goal was to improve the daily lives of millions of people. And now let's fast forward to 2020s. So it's been 100 years since then. And unfortunately, the 2020s have seen huge challenges, starting with the COVID crisis and now with the war in Ukraine. And it is simply now, this moment, I think that we need a similar movement as the historical Bauhaus, where we come together, people from different disciplines, where we implement a similar dynamics so that we change, that we find solutions to the crisis that we are living in right now, and to improve lives for all the people, not only in Europe, but globally. So the new Bauhaus, the new European Bauhaus, is a movement of citizens, of businesses, of institutions who want to rethink how we live. And the goal is to make the places we live in more beautiful, sustainable, and inclusive. And so I would say this new European house, Bauhaus, for me represents hope. It represents new perspectives. It aims at enhancing creativity and providing us all with new opportunities. And I think these are all so needed right now. As Cecile has mentioned, there are three core values of the New European Bauhaus: sustainability, which includes climate goals, circularity, zero pollution, and biodiversity; aesthetics, which is actually the quality of experience and style. So not only functionality, but the beauty of the designed elements. And then finally, inclusion, which includes diversity, equality for all, accessibility, and affordability. But we need to address all these values simultaneously. So they are all interwoven, and they are interwoven in our, not only in our lives, private lives, but also in our professional lives. This is actually a synergy framework of many different programs and projects, and education is one of them. In fact, education is the overarching theme, I would say, of this theme of the new European Bauhaus, because the education is the basis for any change. And all the challenges that we are experiencing and have experienced, especially over the past 2 years, mean that they can be transformed into stimulating opportunities. And teachers have shown that the challenges can be accepted and transformed to opportunities, so that we can reinvent, that we can reimagine education, our school, our learning process, our teaching process, so that we bring tangible transformation into our professional lives and, of course, into our private lives. So when I first heard about this new theme, I thought, what's that? What does it mean? How will I be able to implement it in my teaching, in my teacher training, for example? What is my role as a teacher in this new context of the European Bauhaus? Because you remember, I just read that this is a movement of citizens, of businesses and institutions rethinking how we live. But if I dig a bit deeper into it, I will see that it's a movement of teachers and students. It's a movement of schools. And what we want, yes, it's rethink how we live. But for us, the most important is that we want to rethink how we teach, and also how we learn, not only how our students learn, but how we as teachers learn. So our role as educators in this new context is that our role, our aim, our end goal is to educate children from the youngest age to live more sustainably and fairly. We need to foster the development of new skills that are needed for this new reality. And also we want to bring people of different generations together, uh, based on common values, on learning by doing, and of course by connecting different realities. And this is what we have been doing for so many years in eTwinning. I'm sure you will agree with me. So this new theme for eTwinning is our future, beautiful, sustainable together, something that will inspire us, teachers and students, to imagine a creative learning environment in green and inclusive schools. So it fits perfectly this new theme with eTwinning. Now in the eTwinning Spring campaign, teachers are invited, students are invited to reimagine their schools and to make their learning environment beautiful, creative, and more inclusive. For a new European Bauhaus, if you read about it, you will see that there is a need to create a so-called think-do lab. But I think the eTwinning community, we are a think-do community. We have this design lab. We have this community as an accelerator. It is our network where we meet and work with like-minded people, where we are empowered to be creative, to engage in interdisciplinary projects where our work, our eTwinning projects, they have always been participatory, which means that we have always included students and also teachers from diverse backgrounds. We explore. There is so much enthusiasm in this community. Teachers, eTwinning teachers are proactive. They do things. They make changes. They make innovation happen. And for me, eTwinning is the place we love, where we can find like-minded teachers and where we can be even more creative. So sustainable, inclusive, and beautiful meaning quality, enriching experiences of our projects and of our work is an integral component of our work in eTwinning. By sustainable, we want to inspire our students with nature. We want to educate our students, to empower them to understand, to experience, and embrace sustainability, because this will create strong connections to nature for the future generations. And in eTwinning, one of the featured groups is Sense. If you haven't joined, I encourage you to do so, because it's a group where you can find a lot of different types of information on how to promote sustainability, because this Sense group means Sustainability Education Network Service eTwinning. So there you will find not only teachers who apply different sustainability projects in their work, but also you will be able to connect with experts, listen to new ideas, also share experience with your peers, and find different types of activities where you can engage yourself, or where you can include your students to work together with their peers from other countries. eTwinning is a huge source of inspiration. You can find a lot of different projects or project kits based on sustainability, projects that include sustainable development in their work. These kits that you can use in eTwinning, of course, can be used as they are, or you can adapt them so that they fit the needs and interests of your students. On almost a regular daily basis, there are eTwinning webinars carried out by teachers who want to share their experience, who want to share their ideas, and who want to inspire. So in this community, you can find a lot of inspiration for for new projects. And not only inspiration, but also you can find project partners. There are also many award-winning projects that are featured on eTwinning in the eTwinning portal. For example, this one for kids up to 6 years old, tree huggers. So as you can see, all these activities can be applied in classrooms of very young students, in fact, in kindergarten classrooms, or they can be applied in classrooms of older students, like this one, Climate Volunteers, an award-winning project in the age category of 16 to 19. Of course, you are always welcome to go beyond, to go global. And in one of the projects that I did with my students was this virtual hackathon on the topic of artificial intelligence for Earth, or how can artificial intelligence help us with climate change. So it was a 2-day event for students aged 13 to 18, and it lasted for 2 days. It lasted for 1 weekend, where 7 teams from 7 different countries competed, so to say, in a virtual hackathon. But what the event was about was to learn about artificial intelligence, and also to create an AI for good concept that could make a positive impact on the world around them. So positive impact on something in their local environment. But it was a global event. So connecting globally and local is also something that we tend to do in eTwinning and also in other projects. So the end goal of this hackathon was to design and pitch an AI-based web service that protects an endangered species from student environment. So it was not something that is general, but something that is local, a problem that they experience in their immediate surroundings, and then use technology to help them solve this problem. There are so many projects that include sustainable development, that include sustainability, but also there are many others that include inclusive diversity and inclusion in their projects. Prioritizing the places and people that need it the most has always been one of the strongest elements in eTwinning. Creating affordable and accessible learning opportunities for all students is very important. When we launch a project, when we prepare it, we already design for all, so that all students from diverse backgrounds are included. As much as possible, we try to remove accessibility barriers, not only to the built environment, but also to the online, to the virtual environment. And during the pandemic, we have seen how important it is to connect our students digitally, or in other words, how to ensure that they have access to places of learning, be it school or anything else, and also access to information. And I would also like to invite you to join the feature group on inclusive education, where you can find really a wealth of resources and materials, a lot of different activities, webinars, taking part regularly. You can listen to experts talking in webinars, participate in Twitter chats. They also have a newsletter, so that all the latest developments, all the news can come to your inbox once a month. So it's really a group of inspiration where you can learn from your peers, where you can share and collaborate and actually prepare your project with like-minded people. This is a screenshot from some years ago. It's also an e-twinning project. Does the Earth have borders? And it's about building empathy, about refugees who are forced to leave their home suddenly. And now this is again something that we need to think about, that we are now witnessing at this moment, and so it is important more than ever to help students build empathy. And this is what the e-twinning community does. Just with the start of the war, the Polish in e-twinning ambassadors have launched this initiative calling for peace, where they invited teachers and students from all over Europe to send messages of support for our Ukrainian peers, teachers and students. And last time I checked, there were more than 500 messages created by students from all over Europe. And inspired by this initiative, EU Code Week also launched a similar initiative, Coding for Peace, asking or inviting teachers and students to code messages for peace for students and teachers in Ukraine. And so all these activities, all these initiatives show that we want to help. We show empathy of all our students and teachers, and this is, I think, because this is what shows our togetherness, how important it is for e-twinning teachers to be together, to work together, to learn together. And before the pandemic, we had so many opportunities to see each other, to meet and learn with each other in person. Now we don't, but we haven't given up on this sense of belonging. We despite the pandemic, despite going online, we continued building bridges between people, between teachers and students, and we connected via various video conferencing tools, and actually all the time. I think all these activities have increased during the pandemic. Many of them have been led by e-twinning ambassadors, and they are, I would say, the driving force of the e-twinning community, always there to help and to support new e-twinners, new teachers but also those who have experience with e-twinning project. I would call e-twinning a community of inquiry with three types of presence in the community: social presence, cognitive presence, and teaching presence. With social presence, this means that the main elements of the community are communication and collaboration, which help our students to develop transversal skills, to raise cultural awareness, and to encourage them to express their views, to take part in discussions. Then cognitive presence, the projects that we launch, the projects that we implement in our teaching always includes some kind of problem-solving activities, explorations. We want our students to develop their critical thinking skills, and so we help them to build knowledge, to share knowledge, to invent new ideas and apply them, and to learn from each other. And finally, teaching presence. We are there, teachers. We are there as guides. We are there to bring pedagogical innovation, to motivate our students. And by doing so, we help them build empathy, but also encourage them to be entrepreneurial, to start with different initiatives, and of course to build their self-regulation and learning to learn skills, and also that they dare to create and co-create with their peers. And e-twinning has always been virtual, and I think that for us, this shift from the physical place to virtual place was not so complicated, because this is what we did before. But still, we had to create some new places for teaching, different than those places before the pandemic. We had to come up with new ways of teaching. Because what we wanted when the pandemic started and over the past 2 years, we wanted to ensure that our students have suitable learning spaces, that they get high quality education. And we always made sure that they achieve the learning outcomes, that they have access to the learning place, that they have access to the information, that they are actively engaged now behind 26 computers in 26 different homes where we didn't see them. We still wanted them to be engaged, to collaborate, and also, very importantly, to develop self-regulation skills. So we had to blend learning experiences, and so this challenge, as I mentioned at the beginning of the pandemic, the challenges that the pandemic brought was actually what it meant for us was that we had to come up, and we did, new ways of teaching, we invented new learning experiences. So when we talk about blended learning, there are many definitions, as I'm sure you know, but here on the screen you can see the Council recommendations on blended learning that we have also adopted. So it means that it happens when a school or teacher or student takes more than one approach to the learning process. So it can be a blend of school site, of school, or other physical environment, be it a company or distance learning or outdoors. Or it can also be a blend of different digital and non-digital learning tools. So what we actually want to achieve is to build more resilient education and training systems. And when it comes to students, if we want them to be actively engaged and benefit from blended learning, we need to make sure that they develop new skills such as digital literacy, media and information literacy. Collaborative skills have never been so important as they are now. Self-regulation also, making sure that they are actively engaged and that they build resilient skills is of utmost importance. And for teachers, it also means developing new skills so that they are able to facilitate this different learning environment, this multimodal instruction, so that they can use technology to enhance the learning experience, to provide meaningful participation modes for all students, no matter how they are joining or where they are joining from, to create materials and resources that are inclusive, accessible, and usable for all students. When it comes to the integration of ICT, it's about pedagogy. It's not about technology. So the integration of ICT has to be pedagogical. And then another thing that is very important is to physical and mental well-being of students, but also of teachers. I think especially mental well-being nowadays is a priority of all of us. So if I may ask you, how are you feeling today? You can respond in the chat. Marta will tell me later how you are feeling and what you think. But let me share with you my feelings now. When during the pandemic, these 2 years have been so difficult. It's been really depressing. But with you, all of you, with collaborating, working together with people who are in the same position, was somehow easier, and it was like I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. I could see the end of the pandemic. But now with the war going on in Ukraine, everything with people dying, it's everything is so much darker and more depressing, and it's more frightening. And so. It's such a difficult moment for all of us. So mental well-being is more important than ever, and I think we need each other even more than we did before, during the pandemic, or even before the pandemic. We need to say how we are feeling. We need to say that we are afraid, and also I think we need to work together, to continue working together, being together. This is what might help us to stay strong, because we teachers need to be strong for our students in the classroom and take care of their mental well-being. So Marta, what would you say? How are our participants feeling now?
Yes, I'm gonna read out loud some of the things they are posting in the chat now. So they are feeling tired and worried, but happy to be here and with you, Ariana. And they are saying that it has been quite stressful and challenging. They are of course concerned about the war and the difficult situation at the moment, and overall I would say tired and a bit worried, but also some of them are also saying that they are satisfied for how they face the past challenges. So yeah, I would say this is the general feeling, a concern about the future of our children. Yeah, that of course,
Yes.
I
Thank
think
you,
it's one
Marta.
of the concern that we all have.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. That's what we are all feeling, and it's good that we have a place. It's good that we have our colleagues, our friends who we can talk with, and it will be easier for us to go through this difficult period. And So when we want to design blended learning experiences for our students, we have to take all these into account. We need to consider learning as a design process, where our students, and not only our students, but also us as teachers, are allowed, are enabled to create, to do, and to make. A classroom that is student-centered, where we encourage our students to be to collaborate and also to be creative, so that they are confident about their creativity, that they believe they can make a difference, not only students, but also us teachers, that we believe we can make a difference, that if we experiment, if it doesn't work, that's okay, but then we give it another try. We as many tries as possible until we are happy with what we have achieved. So these are actually the steps of a design thinking process. There have been a lot of different phases of a design thinking process or design thinking schools that I'm sure you are familiar with. One that you see on the screen is by Darton, the Darton School. So we start with the question, what is? So we empathize, we observe, we analyze the reality, what is happening in real life, and then we visualize what if, what would change if I do this, if I create that, and then what wows when you create it or co-create it with your colleagues or students, then you build, refine, evaluate it, and see what works, what doesn't, and what you can change to make it better, and what you can implement finally in your local environment. Here is one example of a blended learning experience that I did with a group of teachers as part of a global live lesson where we invited students to join a live virtual lesson with Minecraft Education Edition. It was an initiative by EU Codewit, and we had experts, Minecraft Education Edition experts, who led the lesson. The lesson lasted for about 90 minutes. And then we also had teachers who joined us with their students in the classroom. But we also had teachers who joined with their students online. So there were different participation modes, but it was a very, very intense learning experience. And the students created their worlds, they explored, they had to find some things in Minecraft, and it was a very, very rewarding experience for not only for students, but also for teachers and for organizers of this activity. And yes, it took us some time and some resources to organize, but I think these are activities, these are experiences that bring much more to your students, to your classroom than just regular lessons in the classroom. So this is not something that you would do every time, but every now and then, connecting with your peers, and you can organize a live lesson so that your students are taught by experts or by other teachers, because we are all experts. And what's most important is that teachers and students are creators of knowledge. So they not only creators, they co-create. So they are co-creators, because it's not the teacher who knows everything and then shares the knowledge with the students, but the students also know a lot, and there is so much more to learn, so that teachers and students are learners, and there is this thin line between them nowadays. They are co-creators, and they create new knowledge, new content, new information. Here is a very interesting survey by Adobe about global creativity gap, and it is a survey that they do on a yearly or two yearly basis with people from 5 countries, and the results from 2020 survey are that only, among others, of course, that only 1 in 4 believe they are living up to their creative potential. As Sir Ken Robinson once said, one of the myths of creativity is that very few people are really creative. Of course, you agree with me. I'm sure that we are all creative, teachers, students, but we need to be allowed to show our creativity. So I have a question for you. Do you feel you are living up to your creative potential? So, in fact, I have more than one question, but let's go now to Book Club. Roberta will share the link in the chat, and I will now go to Book Club to start this activity. There are several questions about creativity, so let's do it quickly now. It's here. Uh, you will also see on my screen, you will see the QR code. So if you want, you can share it, you can scan it and go to the question. So here, just a moment, let me see. I can see that 57, 8 of you have already joined. So let's start with the first question. The first question is the question that you have just seen on the in the PowerPoint. It is about your creative potential. Do you think you are living up to your creative potential? You can't see it yet because I'm still waiting. 87, 88. Okay, let's go now. 90 people. So the first question, do you feel you are living up to your creative potential? Yes. So we have the first answer. No, the second answer. So you see how the answers are changing here. It's tough. A tie here, yes and no. Some of you think you are not living up to your potential, but many of you, so 60% of you think you are living up to your potential. So can you please click and choose one answer so that we can go to the next question? So more of you think that you are living up to your creative potential. I know you are all evening teachers, so you are creative. I know that. Okay, let's go on to the next question, which is to what extent do you agree with the following statements? So one is you don't agree at all. 5 is you absolutely agree. Creativity flourishes in stressful times. Um, you have experienced more creative ideas during the pandemic than before, and your students have enhanced their creative potential during the pandemic. So let's see. Do you think that creativity flourishes in stressful times? Well, most of you, think so. Yes. Okay, 3.6. We have the score here falling a bit, but you have experienced more creative ideas during the pandemic than before. That's what you really think, and I agree because when faced with all these challenges, we had to make sure that our students continue learning, and it involved. Breaking out of our comfort zone and doing things that we had never done before. And when it comes to your students, they have enhanced their creative potential during the pandemic, but maybe not so much as you have, as you can see here from the answers. Okay, let's go on to the next question, which is about creativity boosters and creativity killers. Can you give one word, if you want? What can be a statement, what can be an action activity that can boost creativity, and what can be the opposite, what can kill creativity? So when you get to this question, you will see that there is this pop-up menu. You have to click the arrow, and then you will see that there are two options. So here, creativity boosters, obstacles. That's very great. That's really great. Obstacles. So creativity can be boosted, for example, if there are constraints that what research has shown. Happiness, new perspective, collaboration, I think, reading a book, music, freedom, recognition, challenges, passion, and creativity killers, exams, teacher-based learning. Yeah, so when we as teachers tell students what to do, like I'm doing right now in this webinar, negative attitude, yes, worry, pressure, or yes, or being pessimistic. I think in the pandemic, even though it was very pessimistic, a pessimistic period, we teachers show optimism in our classrooms. Uh, okay, isolation, yes, very important. Boredom, working conditions in Croatian schools, unmotivating environment, yes. So these are all creativity killers. Now, my next question is, what would you need? What would you need to have students who are creators of new knowledge? You have different categories here. You don't have to answer all of them. Choose some. What do you need from your head teachers? You want fewer students in the classroom, more support, openness, respect. Very good. What do you want from your colleagues? What do you want from parents, from e-twinning? What do you want from your students? And the last category is, what can you do? What can you do to be a co-creator of new knowledge? You can inspire. Your students need to be more open, more motivated. Yes, that's nice. From parents, you want empathy, you want understanding, you want support. And from e-twinning, more courses. Marta, Roberta, please pay attention. Ideas and help, new ideas. Okay, webinars, great. Okay, uh, fine. So thank you so much for these excellent ideas. You will be able to see it, and I will share it with Marta later, so that you can see what is needed, especially from head teachers, colleagues, especially from colleagues. In fact, because we are all someone's colleagues here. So it is involvement, collaboration, understanding that we need from you and you need from us. Okay, great. Thank you so much for the answers here. And my final question is just one word that I would like to have from you. How do you boost creativity? Like, what are some, maybe some tools, maybe some activities? So, okay, excellent. Games, challenges. So just write one word, ICT, uh, then group work, coding activities, uh, very nice. Games, challenges. So these are creativity boosters. That's really really nice. As you can see on my screen, there is a very nice. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I thought that that I left.
No, 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 no. We
Oh.
can hear you perfectly.
Oh, we have. Okay, okay. And now here back to my presentation. Thank you so much for your answers. You can keep them coming. Here, I would just like to mention some creativity killers. You know, have you ever heard yeah, but? Or maybe I'm not creative. It's so difficult. There is no time. This is something that I use sometimes in my classroom. Or when you have such a great idea and they tell you it already exists, or get real. So these are creativity killers that we and others tell us because of fear, of risk taking, of being criticized, of failure, of change, of because we are too self-critical, because we don't have confidence, because of the routine, because of the stress that we are surrounded with. So what can help us? Being together, being together in this community where all voices are heard. This is, I think, what we need to be more enthusiastic and to boost our creativity. So we've talked about design, we talked about delivery of creative ideas, but it is also about diffusing or sharing our stories and ideas. And this is what we in eTwinning have always done, diffusing new meaning, sharing. Sharing is caring, no matter where we are, online or in face-to-face. This is what we always do. And in this new European Bauhaus theme, what we need to do, what we want to do, is to share our dreams. And dreams are also our knowledge, ideas, our vision or visions, so that we can connect these different realities and build a better life for all generations, for generations to come, and that we can reimagine our schools. And so this is this theme of eTwinning in this year. This is the theme of the new European Bauhaus, to transform our learning spaces so that we build a tangible place with innovative pedagogical methods, that we include the local community, that we create places that are sustainable, enriching, inclusive, and that we create new ways of learning, so that the focus is, of course, on pedagogy. Here is the definition of what beautiful and inclusive schools mean. They are schools designed to involve students of all cultures, from disadvantaged backgrounds, of different sexual orientations, gender identities, or with disabilities. And sustainable schools are those that are functional, accessible, which embody eco-friendly practices, and which create the conditions for raising awareness of the environment among citizens. Or in other words, beautiful and inclusive and sustainable schools are the places we love. This is what we want to create. In my eTwinning learning events, I have already tackled this topic with our colleagues, and here are some of their designs. How they showcased innovation in their learning place, how they wanted to create a different future school, a different future classroom. And here are some of their visual ideas, but also they wanted to transform their learning experiences so that there are, for example, and this was some years ago before the pandemic, with lots of windows, lots of space, colorful furniture, that there is no fixed seating arrangement, good internet connection, state-of-the-art technology, also a small garden, animals, many plants, with some music in the background, and a cafeteria as well. But not only that, they wanted a space where learning is personalized, where students are provided with choice, where they have a voice, where they are shown support, where they can learn actively, and where there is creativity, passion, and enthusiasm, but not only for students, also for us teachers. So my question at the end of this webinar is, what is your ideal school? The school that is founded on the values of inclusion, beauty, and sustainability. How can you include students, teachers, and places where the learning happens? How can you use, how can you create a school that is ideal for all of them? So when you imagine your dream, your ideal school, think without constraints. Let your imagination go wild. Create fluency, which means create volume, which means create a lot of different ideas. create flexibility, which means create variety, create a lot of different ideas, and think like there is no box, not only outside the box, but like there is no box. And when you are done, select the ideas, all these ideas, you will come up with a lot of different ideas. So select those that are the most rational, select one that is the most feasible or the safest, or you can do it differently. You can select the wildest idea, you can select the most intriguing idea, or maybe the most far-fetched, or the most likely to delight. So it's up to you which you want to select and then to implement in your classroom, in your community. So my final question now would be, what does your dream school look like? Uh, Here I have created a mural. So it is a blank canvas for you where you can draw, where you can upload pictures, where you can see what others are dreaming about, where you can write and describe your ideal, your dream school in words. So Roberta will share the link with you in the chat, and this is what you can come back to even after this webinar. So you can start now and finish later, or never finish. Come back anytime you want to see what others are dreaming about and how they can inspire you, and how you can build upon their ideas. So my final words would be to be a creator, you and your students. And if they tell you, if someone tells you, but everything has already been designed, just tell them that if everything is designed, everything can be redesigned. And this is so, so true, I believe. So never stop learning. What you have learned, be ready to unlearn and then relearn, to learn again. And this is what's been around for many, many years now. And I think nowadays it's more relevant than ever. Be bold and boldly go where no teacher has gone before, and your students, of course, let them shine. So keep on drawing in the on this blank canvas. Let's draw together our ideal, our dream school. And with this, I would like to thank you for your participation and attendance to this webinar. Marta, over to you. If there are any questions, I will be happy to
Thank you very much, Ariana. I think the webinar was really useful for the participants, because actually I'm reading some comments in the chat that I'm gonna read out loud for you. And the first one was from Natalia Tsitsi, that was saying, "Thank you, Ariana. Now the new European Bauhaus seems beautiful and challenging as well as feasible." So I think we know that the theme is really wide and broad, but how you decline the various, let's say, sub-themes, I think it really helped the teacher to understand the direction to take from now on. And also Romana made a very nice comment saying that my teaching work is divided into the part where I did not know about e-twinning, and now the present part where I am an active e-twinner. So I'm really happy to hear that e-twinning can really change the way of teaching and can give really a boost to the teaching methods and the excuse me. Just the practical information. So no certificates are issued for this webinar, but if you would like to have it registered in your portfolio, you need to sign in on the sheet we have shared, and Roberta now is going to share it again. So if you don't have signed yet, you can do it. Please do it just once. Thank you very much. I see a lot of positive comments, and thank you in the chat for you, Ariana. I think that was great, and not really questions, but maybe we can wait a couple of more minutes to see if something it's coming. Now, meanwhile, I will scroll just the chat to check if I missed something. I see now you can see the chat as well. So
yes, I can, but I just wanted to share again my screen because
yeah.
there are so many nice contributions to the canvas.
Yeah, that's a
So
great idea. We can
yeah.
maybe read some of them.
I'm still not sharing, right? It's my computer is rather slow.
No, we still don't see it.
Okay, now I hope it will work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's loading. So
Okay,
yeah, now
so
we can see
here
it.
you can see here.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of pictures that you shared, then uh, messages, also screenshots from this webinar. Okay, so it's here, as you can see. So these are all instruments that have joined. Peace, thank you, well-being, okay, flowers. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think we are moving towards the closing. I would like to thank you all the participants, all the attendees for joining. We were more than 200, I think, today. So really great. But before I stop the recording and I close the webinar, of course, Ariana, I would like to. Oh, sorry, I think we lost Ariana. Okay, no problem. So thank you very much to all the participants for joining, and I wish you all a good evening. I want to remind you that you can also find the recording as of tomorrow in case you want to rewatch the event. Okay, Ariana is back. Sorry. I just wanted to leave you the floor for a final maybe word or any advice, suggestion, anything you would like to say to our attendees, and then we can close.
Yeah. So thank you once again for joining. It's been a real pleasure to share with you my thoughts about this theme. I really think it's a great theme that all of us will find interesting topics, interesting ideas, and implement them in their e-twinning projects. So thank you for being here today.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you very much, Ariana. And once again, I wish you all a good evening and stay safe. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye bye.